I found the text message 3 years after she sent it. Sitting right there in my drafts folder, never sent, never seen by anyone but me. And reading it, I realized I had spent 3 years being angry at someone for something that never happened. Let me back up. I used to think I was a pretty good judge of people. Not perfect, but sharp enough. I could read a room, sense when someone was upset with me, tell when a conversation had gone sideways. It's a skill I was proud of, honestly. In my job, I managed a small team at a logistics company. Reading people mattered. You learn to notice the pause before someone answers, the tone that's just slightly off, the message that takes too long to come back. So when my friend Dana stopped texting me back the way she used to, I noticed. Of course I noticed. We'd been close for almost 6 years, the kind of friendship where you don't have to explain your bad days, you just say, "Ugh, today," and the other person gets it. But that fall, something shifted. Her replies got shorter. She stopped initiating plans. When I'd bring up getting coffee, she'd say, "Maybe next week," and next week would come and go without a word. I remember thinking, okay, something's wrong. I just didn't know what. At first I told myself I was imagining it. That's the first thing your mind does, actually. It makes you doubt the very thing it's about to convince you of completely. But the doubt didn't last long. Because I started collecting evidence. That's the only way I can describe it now. Every short reply became a data point. Every cancelled plan got filed away as proof. I wasn't just noticing anymore, I was building a case. By November, I was fairly certain I'd done something. Said something wrong, maybe, at her birthday dinner back in August. I went over that night in my head so many times I could recite the seating arrangement. Had I made a joke that landed badly? Had I talked too much about my own stuff and not asked about hers? I couldn't land on the specific offense, but I was sure there was one. My mind doesn't like unexplained gaps. It fills them in, whether or not it has the right information. Here's the strange part, though, I never asked her. 6 years of friendship, and when things felt off, my first instinct wasn't to say something. It was to retreat. To match her distance with my own, like some unspoken agreement we'd never actually made. I told myself I was respecting her space. Giving her room. But if I'm honest, I think I was scared of confirming what I already believed. As long as I didn't ask, I could hold on to the story without testing it. That's a strange kind of comfort, isn't it? Not knowing, but being sure anyway. Through the winter, I watched our friendship cool from a distance, like watching weather change through a window. I started leaving her out of plans before she could leave me out first. Small things, not inviting her to a game night, not mentioning a trip I was taking with mutual friends. I told myself I was protecting myself. Getting ahead of the inevitable. When a mutual friend asked why Dana wasn't there, I just said things had gotten busy. It felt true when I said it. By spring, we'd gone from texting every day to maybe once a month. Polite. Distant. The kind of exchange you'd have with someone you used to know. I want to tell you there was a dramatic moment where everything unraveled, but that's not how it happened. What happened was smaller and stranger than that. I was helping my sister set up a new phone, transferring old messages over, and my phone was plugged in next to mine for the backup. Somehow, I still don't fully understand the mechanics of it, an old draft folder sync that I hadn't opened in years. And there it was. A message to me. From Dana. Dated the same week things had started feeling off, back in September. She'd never sent it. It said she'd been struggling that fall, her dad had gotten a diagnosis, and she didn't know how to talk about it without falling apart, so she'd been pulling back from everyone, not just me. She said she felt guilty for going quiet, that she missed our friendship, that she didn't know how to explain herself without unloading something she wasn't ready to unload. And then, apparently, she just didn't send it. Maybe she got interrupted. Maybe she chickened out. I'll never know for sure, because by the time I found it, too much time had passed to bring it up without it feeling strange. I sat there holding my phone for a long time. Because the story I'd told myself, that I'd done something wrong, that she was pulling away because of me, wasn't just incomplete. It was built on nothing. I had constructed an entire narrative, complete with a villain and a wound, out of silence. And the actual explanation had nothing to do with me at all. What got me wasn't just that I'd been wrong. It was how confident I'd been. I hadn't held that theory loosely, as one possible explanation among several. I'd treated it as fact. I'd made decisions based on it, real decisions, the kind that reshape a friendship. And the whole time, there'd been no actual evidence. Just my mind doing what it does best, taking a gap in information and filling it with the explanation that felt most familiar. And for whatever reason, my particular mind reaches for, it's something I did, faster than almost any other explanation. I think a lot of us do that, actually. We treat our interpretations like they're facts we discovered instead of stories we built. Someone doesn't answer a text and we know they're annoyed. Someone gets quiet in a meeting and we know they disagree with us. We're not guessing, it feels like knowing. And that feeling of certainty is exactly what stops us from asking the question that would actually tell us the truth. I called Dana that night. Not a text, I didn't trust myself to write it carefully enough to avoid sounding either accusatory or fake. Just a call. I told her I'd found the draft, and I was sorry it took an accident to make me ask what was actually going on instead of assuming I already knew. She was quiet for a second. Then she said she'd wondered, sometimes, whether I'd noticed the distance and just decided I was fine with it. Which was almost funny, in a sad way. We'd both interpreted the same silence and landed on opposite stories, and both of us had just quietly accepted our version instead of checking it. We talked for almost 2 hours that night. Her dad's treatment was going better than expected, which was a relief to hear. But what stayed with me more than the update was something smaller she said near the end. She said she used to think honesty meant telling the truth when someone asked. She was starting to think it also meant not letting a silence get mistaken for something it wasn't, that maybe you owe people small updates even in hard seasons, not the whole story, just enough that they're not left guessing. I think about that a lot now, alongside my own half of the lesson. Because we'd made the same mistake from 2 different directions. I filled a silence with a story that wasn't true. She let a silence sit there without knowing what it would grow into on the other end. Neither of us was cruel. We were just human, running on incomplete information, and treating our best guess like it was the whole picture. I still catch myself doing it, if I'm being honest. A friend takes a while to respond and some part of me starts drafting the explanation before I've asked a single question. But I try to notice it now. I try to remember that the story I'm telling myself is just that, a story, built by a mind that would rather have a wrong answer than an empty space. I wonder sometimes how many friendships fade not because 2 people stopped caring, but because both of them were quietly certain about something neither of them ever said out loud.